KRLS, the new 92 FM in Pella. And we have got a dandy. Tom Clark with you tonight on the new 92 along with Gordon Van Zanten. The matchup tonight, the number 1 team in the state in Class 2A boys basketball, the Washington Demons. Their opponent, the number 4 team in the country, that's the Eagles from Pella Christian. Washington coming into this ball game 3-0. They played in a tournament in Illinois over the weekend. 1 game on Friday, 2 games on Saturday, won all 3 of them. Pella Christian 1-0 after their 75-38 victory over Pella on Friday night. And Gord Van Zanten tonight's ball game promises to be the spotlight game in the state of Iowa. Number 4 versus number 1 in Class 2A. And many are looking at Class 2A this year as perhaps the most exciting, most entertaining class of basketball in the state of Iowa.
Well, when you're in that class, Paul, you probably think that anyway. But this would really be a good one. And I'll tell you, a lot of times with polls, you can't put too much faith in those, particularly early. But if Washington goes into Illinois and wins 3 ball games against schools twice their size, you know they're playing quality basketball, and particularly when you play 2 ball games in 1 day. And the coach will probably say they didn't play well, but you still have to play well enough to win, and they won all 3. So, well, they've got an advantage, I think, in having played 3 ball games over against the 1 game Pella Christian played on Friday night.
Washington ranked number 1 in the state. Of course, in these early season polls, a lot of the preseason ranking is based on what you did last year and who you've got coming back. Washington went to the state tournament in Class 2A, and they returned 3 starters from that team. But not only 3 starters, they returned 3 starters who played a lot last year, of course, their starters, and also scored a lot of points. And to this point in the season, Steve Brown, their big guy in the middle, averaging 28 points. Tony Wilson, one of the forwards, at 13 points. And Buddy Bolton, their point guard, at 13 points. So right there, 54 points. Those 3 men right there, and they hold the key for Washington.
Well, you know they're not going to panic in particular situations. It's really tight ball game and so forth. They've had state tournament experience. Like you say, they played all last year. You've got that many points coming back. You know they aren't going to panic. And well, it could be an interesting ball game.
Number 4 versus number 1, Pella Christian taking on Washington. And right now we want to go to the coach and find out what Coach Jerry Nickel has to say about tonight's matchup in a very interesting pregame interview.
Washington at number 1. Now, these early season rankings, you don't always mean a lot, but in this case, I think it's safe to say that we've got a couple of the best Class 2A basketball teams in the state tonight at Central College. Washington had a very impressive weekend at the tournament in Illinois. They were 3-0 in the tournament. All the schools they were playing substantially bigger than Washington. Give us some of your feelings on their success over Illinois. It has to make you think that it's a very fine ball team.
Well, we know Paul's a very fine ball team just by the holdovers they had from last season and the types of athletes that they are and the way they play. They play a controlled style of ball. They are not going to go out and ever get beat badly. If they do get beat, they're coached that way. And they don't make a lot of mistakes. If they make mistakes, you're going to have to cause them. They just don't turn the ball over very often. And they're just fundamentally a very, very sound team. And I think that the games in Illinois really don't shock me at all because I know that with the style of ball that Trammell coaches there, they could probably play with just about anybody. Whether the team is size-wise bigger or quicker or whatever, they find a way to play with them and they can play very tempo. I think that's one of the real keys to most Washington teams that I've seen in recent years. But I think they're probably very deserving of what they're rated right now.
Washington rated number 1 in the state, largely on the fact that they were a state tournament team last year. And not only are they returning 3 starters, they're returning 3 starters that contributed a lot of points to their team last year. Steve Brown, their center, leads the way, averaging 25 points per ball game last year as a junior. He's back as a senior. Now, you saw Washington early last year, ball game over at Washington, where they got out to a big lead. Pella Christian made a run, and then Washington ended up winning the game at the end. Tell us what you remember about the team, in particular Steve Brown.
Well, Steve Brown can go unnoticed for about 4 or 5 minutes in the ball game. You really don't even know he's out there, and then all of a sudden he'll come down, and in the next 2 minutes he might score 4 straight buckets and have 8 quick points on you. He's kind of a quiet style of player. He's not overly aggressive. He's just very smooth. And he gives up a little size to most people he plays against when he goes against people that are 6'6" inside. But he has a tremendous body control, and he has very smooth movements and rhythms. I really think every time he touches the ball, he knows exactly how he's going to set you up and try to beat you to the basket and score, if not draw the foul. He's a very intelligent ball player. He's got a lot of experience. He was on the varsity as a freshman, and this is his third year as a starter. And you'd think that sometimes maybe the kid should be bigger to play inside. If he had bigger people to play with, he'd probably be better yet. But he can also shoot the outside shot. So he's a complete ball player, as I've seen him over the years.
Washington with the 3 basketball games this weekend in Illinois, 1 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. And Coach Dave Trimble says the style of play in Illinois is much more physical than in Iowa. It's more of a physical style game in the Illinois high school surface. He doesn't seem too concerned coming in about fatigue. He thinks, he said if he thought there would be any fatigue, it would have showed up in that second game on Saturday night. So he's not too worried about his team being tired coming in tonight. I know from the Pella Christian standpoint, you'd like to see their guys dragging just a little bit. Knowing what you know about your team, what you know about high school athletes, at this point of the season, do you think a team can really come back from 3 games in 2 days and just a couple days later play a good game?
Well, I really think they can, Paul, based on the type of team that they are. I think that if it was a mediocre team or an average ball club that was maybe on going to win 500 or go 500 for the season, they might tire and let down a little bit. But the type of season that they're expecting to have there and that rating that they've got, I don't think they're going to be tired. If that happens and they start to physically go down a little bit, they'll probably start playing with a little bit of motion and keep them up. I think they'll be again. Be a factor is the fact that we're on a college court, which is 10 foot longer. That could be a factor. They aren't used to that. We aren't either. However, we did play there Friday night. And also the tightened surface that Central's floor has. There's a little different bounce on the ball. And that can be a factor sometimes. I did not see that as a factor in Friday night's game, but then, our kids, both schools in town here play over there quite a bit during the summer and are used to that surface as well. Sometimes for opposing schools coming in, that can be a factor. The other thing is with the size of the floor, when you're a good pressing team, sometimes that extra size will hinder your press, and that could be a factor. But fatigue, tiredness, no, I think they'll be able to play for full 32 minutes.
In tonight's ball game, can you tell us about any specific matchups, maybe not personnel-wise, but just your team versus their team, areas where you feel Pella Christian can perhaps gain somewhat of an advantage on Washington, some areas that you're concentrating on?
Well, we feel this, that they are going to have to be replying with somebody with size, and if that's Wilson, he's 6'3", and Klein 6'4", that's a pretty good match. They'll have to have size on Van Gork, so let's say they put Brown on Van Gork, 6'4" versus 6'6". The next best they can come with is somebody at around 6'2", and that might be Geeting's open door again tonight, just as it was Friday night. He is going to, I think, draw someone that's going to be a little shorter and certainly less of a ball player in terms of the type of people they have. If we can take advantage of that, we're certainly going to try to. I would fully expect to see a lot of zone out of Washington tonight because of the length of floor, because of the 3 games over the weekend, and I know that Coach Campbell kind of likes that zone that they play. So I would not be a bit surprised to see them starting that zone to get into that zone pretty early in the ball game, especially if they get a lead. I think we'll see them go to that.
Another advantage of the zone, it can reduce foul problems. Do you think Washington's as deep as Pella Christian? Can they stay with you with those top 7 or 8 players, or do they pretty much need to go with the top 5? In other words, play their zone defense and keep their top 5 out of foul trouble?
The characteristics of Washington over the year is if Dave Campbell can play a game with 5 players, he will do it, and they will never go to the bench. The other thing that is a very characteristic of Washington teams is they do not foul you. They absolutely are very low committing fouls. They just don't commit fouls. They play good position defense, but not the overly aggressive things that get them out of position. They play position defense. We would like to build football and have the kind of performance we had last Friday night. And also the fact that they are going to, I think, play good position. And I said, we're going to stop.
Hello, I'm Alex Trebek with a quick Jeopardy quiz. Answer: it was the subject of an Oscar-winning movie. It stands today as home of one of the most successful long-term programs that trouble the homeless boys and girls. Question: what is Boys Town? For nearly three-quarters of a century, Boys Town has cared for children who are abused or neglected. It helps them rebuild their self-esteem and develop the skills they need for a good future. For information, call Boys Town 1-800-448-3000.
And we are experiencing some technical difficulties with the ball game, and we hope to resume as soon as possible.
Don't let it keep you from hiring people else. If you can uplift the stands in your life, listen to this. Get the facts. Call the Epilepsy Foundation of America. 1-800-EFO-1000.
Hockey podcast and basketball.
Technical difficulties around here to watch our power force position on it, but it is not on, so we're all set to go with basketball. Starting lineup, first four of the visitors from Washington on the front line. One forward, Brian Dunlap, 6'1" senior, and at the other forward, Tony Wilson, a senior at 6'3". In the middle, Steve Brown, a 6'4" senior, averaging 28 points per ball game. The guards, Danny Stout, a 5'10" senior, and Buddy Bolton, a 5'10" senior. For Pella Christian across the front line, Ryan Klein, a 6'4", 180-pound senior. One other forward, Brent Geeting, 6'4", 200-pound senior. Mark Van Gorp starting in the middle, 6'6", 195, a senior. The guards are Troy Vanderdolen, a 6-foot senior, and Eric Pothoven, a 6'1" sophomore. Now let's enjoy our national anthem. Washington is short a true big man. They're going to have a 6-1 forward up there goal line. And a lot of from the beginning, we expect him to be matched up with Geeting. So that could be a very true matchup right there because Geeting is 6'4" and has a 6 advantage. Pella Christian as well. Lob pass in. Again, for Washington. 13 foul on Washington. Pella Christian will put it in play from their offensive baseline. We play 38 seconds. No score as number 4 takes on number 1 out of Central College. Brian Klein with Sigrid. There's Van Gorp underneath. And they're going to call a foul before the shot. Collapse on Van Gorp. And then John Mark on the line. Mark went ahead and put the basket in. That was played NBA ball there. I believe that would have counted on the continuation move.
That's exactly right. Contact was made before the shot.
Brian Klein pulls the trigger, gets it into Vandermolen. Klein for Klein. Bolton has the ball, kicks it off, and now they get it back to Buddy Bolton to set up the offense. Man-to-man defense again for Pella Christian. There's a jump shot from the free throw. And it's a 3-2 ball game. Full court pressure now by Washington. O'Connell gets the ball back to down. Now taking it all the way down. Bounce back inside. Washington. Even trying to play. Driving layup shot and made. Three-point attempt by Bolton is good. Three-point attempt by Bolton is good. He's now 5 of 15 on the year for three-pointers, 33%. He's 7 of 10 on two-pointers, 70%. Pella Christian comes back, Ryan Klein in the middle. Can't get the shot, gets his own rebound. Now watch the play. Brown comes away with it. Washington 2-on-1. Bolton drives in, way out there. I think it's simple as the Pella Christian's liking, but Washington put those three baskets in on the other end, and they've really gotten down the floor. It seems like they're willing to run the Pella Christian this time the ball game. At the last second, he saw a man breaking under the hoop, tried to dish off, ball batted down. Washington has another turnover against Pella Christian. Bolton has the basketball outside the three-point line. Brown with a timeout will be called. No, we're going to have an official's timeout. Jerry Nichols is going to call time there because Washington is in a bit of a run. They've scored 7 straight. I think he wanted not to touch the ball after the made basket, after Washington's made basket. 5 minutes, 17 seconds, first quarter. Washington 9, Pella Christian 5, and the Demons second. That's already 4. Well, totally uncharacteristic of that team, and they're pressing full court and they're running, and I think then you are going to pick up more fouls. So at least early on, Washington has a 9-5 lead, but all the intangibles are going Pella Christian's way. Over the work going, drives down the middle, roll up. Washington has the basketball. Pella Christian back within 2. It's 9-7. to Giddings, shot off the glass, no good. Van Wood gets the game, gets to the 10, and the ball hit after that. This is off Van Wood, baseline, no good. Into Brown. Help over. Van Wood recovered pretty well that time. And they put the hit on Brown, and he'll go to the line. First team foul on Pella Christian. Washington 9, TC 9, 4:18 to go first quarter.
I think one of the reasons Brown is such a fine ball player, too, is that he does not waste energy with fruitless effort. He makes moves to the basket when it's essential that he make a move to the basket.
Hits on the first free throw. Washington forges a 1-point lead. Gets the second one. So the advantage for the Demons. Pass to two, and full court pressure coming once again. Brian Klein looks for help. Pothoven has the ball now, and they need to get the ball across the timeline. Vanderbilt has it. After Pothoven, they do get it across the timeline with not a whole lot of time to spare in the play. A three-pointer from Pothoven, no good. That was a long three-pointer, and the long rebound comes out to Pella Christian, or I should say to Washington. Bolton thinks about the three-pointer, passes it up. After stop, here's the ball knocked down by Van Wood. Tried to steal it, but he lost it out of bounds. It'll be Washington basketball on the far sideline, down close to the deep left-hand corner. And Pella Christian's going to man-to-man coming out of there. I don't know, they drop into his zone or they stay in the man. Pass inside, it's loose for a minute. Number 43, Brian Dunlap. And not going to win a whole lot for him. He's not a big scorer. That time he picked up the weak ball, took it in a 4-point lead for the Demons. Pella Christian comes right back. They break the pressure. Woody Klein off to Pothoven. And back out to Ryan Klein. Thinks about the three-pointer. Goes baseline. Stops from top. Shot no good. Rebound spot. Four. Still loose. Washington will put it in from the defensive baseline now. Pella Christian will press, and we have seen the full-court pressure from the very get-go with both teams.
If this court is 10 feet longer, they're going to be able to tell they have a nice exercise.
Stolen by Pella Christian. Vanderbilt. Quarter. Washington has the basketball. They move it outside again. We're going to have 3 seconds. It was Paul Wilson that was in the lane just a bit too long. And it will be Pella Christian basketball.
Interesting concept in the way Washington runs their offense. Brown very, very seldom touches the ball unless it's time to score.
Brown, this is on the jump shot. Offensive board, Frank Giddings pulls down the rebound and puts in the follow shot. 13-13, here's a lob inside to Brown. Giddings comes over, goes on Van Wood. So another turnover charge for Washington. Pella Christian has the basketball and a chance to take the lead. Pella Christian led by 3 early on. Washington scored 7 consecutive points. They've led by 4 on 2 occasions. Right now we're tied at 13. Eric Pothoven into the lane. Jump shot. After leading Eagles with 19 on Friday.
That move is his left hand right down the middle. Even though he's right hand, it goes to left very, very well.
Taylor with a nice move. Misses the layup. Klein had the rebound. Taylor took it out of hand. That'll be a team rebound for the Eagles. 1 minute, 55 seconds, first quarter. And it's Pella Christian 15, Washington 13. Pothoven with the basketball. football. Off to Vandermolen. Takes going down for just a moment here. Back to Conovan. They go down into the right corner. The Brown tried to get it underneath. The ball was knocked down. Ricochet off there for Lloyd to Brown and Brown for Washington. Last touch by Brown, so it will belong to Christian. First substitution, and Matt Melcher, a 5'9" senior, steps into the lineup at one of the guard spots for Washington. Actually, Melcher down on the front line, so at 5'9", he's a forward. Now he pops out in the zone. Here's Eating baseline shot. Bolton came back and blind side of the point guard came down, collapsed, and got the block shot. There's Brown, little hook pass to Melcher. This is not up in the air. Bolton takes the three-pointer. He'll dish off the scout. They go baseline to Brown. Just a little too aggressive that time with the body. Putting on the extra pressure, forces man out of bounds. A foul call, only the second foul on Pella Christian.
And I think Brown was really deep on the baseline. I don't think he could have gotten a shot off from the position that he was in.
Let's remember using the big square college offense. It's stolen away by Van Dorp. First turnover on Washington. And here suddenly he goes. Vandermolen for three. No! That was going in, but it comes up a bit short. And Washington out of there with it. They look to tie or perhaps go ahead with the long one. 15-13 Pella Christian. We're inside a minute, first quarter. Inside to Brown, and he'll be fouled by Jeting. And that's only the third on Pella Christian, but it is the second on Brent Jeting. And we might see him come out here for the final 48 seconds of the quarter. Yeah, you bet. He heads to the bench. And Brad Winyao will check into the lineup for Pella Christian. Winyao, 171-pound junior, 6'3". Washington has the ball inbound. There's Bolton down in the corner. And he'll dribble around to the top of the circle and set things up from there. 2-3 zone being employed by Pella Christian. Long skip pass cross court, almost saved, and now it's going to be Washington basketball. Windsor came up with the loose ball, but he had a foot on the end line. Washington to put it in with 30 seconds, first quarter. Zone defense now again for Pella Christian. This more of a 2-3 or 2-1-2, George?
It looks like a 2-1-2. At times the Dorp is down along the bottom line. I was trying to figure that out one other time, too.
The two defenses awfully similar. Kind of depends where that first man sets up in the middle. That's Van Dorp. Down to 3 seconds in the quarter. Here's a three-pointer at the buzzer. It's short. On the rebound taken away by Brown. And the first quarter will come to an end. A three-pointer hit by Bolton. And Fowler and gives the pass back to the rear man. By the team, Club, and doctors and release and a high. The local amateur professional. Complete visual care examination. Contact lenses. Therapeutically certified glaucoma diagnosis and treatment. Doctors and release and a high on fire. Finish and decoration. When it's time for redecorating your home, call the professionals at Johnson Decoration. See Johnson Decoration at 614 South on fire. Visit the People State Bank in Albia. Ask about free checking. No service charges on your first checking charge. Tonight's game also brought to you by the Village Florist. Floral arrangements are our specialty. Balloons, silk and dried flowers, green and blooming things. Worldwide delivery from the Village Florist outside of the square in Pella. The family hair care center for your family is off Broadway in Pella. Professionals who know the look that's best for you and the care that's best for your hair. Off Broadway, west of the Pella Square on Washington. Save up some off-road prices await you at Travelers Hardware. Travelers Hardware on home care and save on the items you need around the house, farm, or ranch. Travelers Hardware on the east side of the square in Pella. We're back here at Central College Piper Gymnasium. Second quarter underway. Washington has the basketball. Bolton with it off top. Man-to-man defense now for Pella Christian. They go in the middle. Taylor on Putnam does not get the basket. Van Dorp with a big-time rebound. Wilson misses his shot. Quarter, Washington shot 71%, but they only took 7 shots. They were 5 of 7. Pella Christian 7 of 17. There's a rebound. Pella Christian 7 of 17. Here's a three-pointer for Wilson. Christian has gone up 4. It's now back to 1. Washington has truly accomplished high school shooters. Form of the three-pointer is probably as good as what you see in high school basketball. They go up confidently. Eagles with the basketball. Pella Christian in his own now. Long shot from outside. Misses by Conover, and Washington comes out of there with it. Ball stolen away. Nice play by Williams. Christian might have Washington's number. That's depth. Vandermolen in the lane. Woody flying. Woody running. 19-16 is a three-pointer by Bolton. No good. Fight for the rebound. Pella Christian doing a fine job on the board. Fine now got away with the walk. Little one-hander. Won't go. Lead for Pella Christian is their biggest, 21-16. Back into the 2-1-2 zone. 2-3. Three-pointer. Good. Now Pella Christian goes on a timeout, and Jerry Miller is going to have to do something about that long-range bounding. You got guys working, keep the ball too. You've got that form down, that follow-through hand is still in the follow-through position when the ball goes to the basket. I think that's probably the reason he was such a good shooter. Comeback by the Pella Christian sophomores. Washington led 42-30 at one point in the third quarter. Pella Christian with a spirited comeback, and they win the sophomore game 57-54. In varsity action right now, 5:36 to go first half. Pella Christian 21, Washington 19. The Eagles having a heck of a time getting the ball in bounds. They finally do now. They need to get it across the timeline. Washington with tough work for pressure. Here's Ryan Klein. How the numbers advantage to Pella Christian. Trying to throw it up a little bit, get it back out to Conover, and the Eagles go to work on offense. There, Conover drives in all the way to the basket. Foul whistled on Dunlap. Dunlap is second. That's the 15th foul. It was a shooting foul, so Williams will get two, but it does get Pella Christian on the bonus on the next non-shooting foul. Williams at the line for Pella Christian. First one is up and no good. He's a little tighter than the other kid. Just in the form of the shooting and the way he handles himself on the floor. Get a couple minutes on the floor, I think he'll relax a little bit. Going back to Friday in his first out tonight, so a little sense at the line, but he's been doing all right in the flow of the offense. 22-19, 3:05 to go first half. Number 4, Pella Christian leading. Number 1, Washington by 3. Here's Wilson. He's scanned a couple of three-pointers. Flying with the basket. It might be
big kid because of the fact that his teammates are such good passers. And when you put 2 and 3 good-sized kids in the front line, down the block area, a guy like Mark is going to have some difficulty. And he is a little frustrated right at this point. I will say he will get his points because they're going to look to him more and more. He's a scorer. There's no doubt about that.
Wieniaw's back at the free throw line after being fouled on a rebound. He missed it. Long rebound comes out for Washington. And there come the Demons. Pella Christian 22, Washington 19. Wilson has the basketball. Gets it off his Bolton. They get it inside the Brown. He'll take it up strong. He's fouled by Wieniaw. And that foul simply used that left arm to send away the defender. And they lobbed it over the top. Brown got it underneath. Wieniaw helping out, picks up the foul out of his first.
I really think that's the reason that Washington is seeing every game they play, probably even when they are down in talent a little bit, is because they know where to go when they are down. That time they knew they had to get it on Brown. They're down 4. He's going to get a shot off, or he's going to be at the free throw line.
Brown gets on the first free throw. Big guy is 3 of 3 at the line. And he misses the second one. Wieniaw there for the rebound. Brown came in and shooting 76% from the line, so pretty good touch there. They got ball almost going in the line. Into the backcourt to recover it, so turnover on Pella Christian gives the ball to Washington.
It's the 82nd ball game call for Van Gorp, right? Van Gorp taking a break.
Van Gorp taking a break on the side, so Giddings will draw the assignment of Brown. Have to keep an eye on that one. Washington working the basketball. It's 2-2-22, Washington 20. Taylor fakes the three-pointer, drives down the lane. Takes the three-pointer, takes it all the way down the lane to the layup.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Play for the Phillies, right? There you go. For the Phillies.
There you go. Back door, a little one-handed, no good. So Wilson cornered both ends of the floor. He tipped that ball in for PC. Thinks about the three-pointer. Here's a three-pointer by Stout. No good. Long rebound. Brown has it. He goes back up. Lost it. Wieniaw comes up with it. Now the ball taken away by Washington. There's a little layup by Brown.
They are so consistent, Paul. They know that their teammates are.
Full court pressure again by Washington. Hoven gets it across the timeline. 24-24. This ball game on. Took an extra step and so it's a turnover on Pella Christian. Washington has the ball and they have a chance to take the lead back for the first time in quite a while. 3:05 to go first half. Pella Christian 24, Washington 24. Bolton with the basketball. Off to Wilson. They're going to Brown. He dishes. Number 33, Brian Bella. Not a big score, but he's consistent. There's about 6 almost scoring. So for Bolton, that'll be his second, and Mark Van Dorp will go to the line for the one in the bonus.
Washington played so well within themselves. Remember, Paul, in the first quarter, within the first 3 minutes, they had 4 fouls. 4 of them at the 5 line.
Well, they picked up a couple more than that. They got 7 of them. They got 7. Still doing a first time with the bonus, but they all got 7. But again, that's another 4 in the 3 minutes, actually, and 3 in the last 7 minutes. That's correct.
They're a good team. They're well played. Any good coach knows if you come out 50 foot the free throw line, expect to win. Those are just 3 shots. The game is indicative of what the game is all about.
And Gordon misses on the first free throw. We've got a lane violation. has a chance for 2 more free throw goals. He can make this 13. Van Gorp missed another one. But Vandermolen gets the rebound. Here's Van Gorp driving up. Standout off the bench. 7 points. Washington with the basketball. Kelly looks a lot more comfortable on the floor than what he did 2 minutes ago. Greg Gardino. Working the basketball. One-on-one. They go into the paint. Little jump shot. No good. Rebound comes out. Charlie Christian can't get it. Washington will look at it. Proceed to throw the ball away. Well, that was back, and there was nobody there to chase it. Vandermolen ran it down for 2-2. Vandermolen into the lane. His little short jump shot. No good. And a rebound taken away by Gardino. And timeout called by Washington.
I knew that was coming by one of the coaches because right now we're in a series of about 10 minutes.
Tonight's game is brought to you by the KILS Sports Council Club, including Will Senior. Will Senior is proud to be a part of the community in Pella. Will Senior is a loyal supporter of area high school athletic programs. We salute the athletes and students of our favorite high school. The People Hub and People Bank is Pella National Bank, complete consumer and business banking services. Pella National Bank at Franklin and Broadway on the west side of the Pella Square. For all occasions, choose the Young Floor in Pella. Dependable service across town or across the country. The STD at the Young Floor, home of on-time delivery. See our selection of greeting cards at the Young Floor. Tonight's game brought to you by the Pizza Hut of Knoxville. Making it great, the Pizza Hut of Knoxville. Making it hot, the Pizza Hut of Knoxville. Make it the Pizza Hut of Knoxville tonight. When the need arises for insurance, see Ted Biotech and a knowledgeable staff at the Tulip City Agency in Pella. For both personal and commercial coverage, visit the Tulip City Agency. Back to Patrick Gilmore. Washington has gone ahead after the timeout. They quickly come out and scout at a little short jump shot. It's 28-26. Here's Van Gorp. Cannot get the shot. Washington out there with the rebound. For this time, a minute 51. Fifth quarter very critical in this ballgame. They went into a tie. Washington took a 2-point lead. They have the basketball back again. Feed down the baseline. Gardino will go in. He dishes off to Brown. Little big shot is good. Just like that, it's a 4-point lead for Washington. About score Charlie Christian 14-5. 4 minutes and 40 seconds. There's Conovan off the Klein. Long jump shot. No good. Long rebound comes out. And right there is Tony Wilson. Big timeout for Washington. 48 seconds. Demons slowing things down a little bit. They go inside. Here's Wilson. Dishes underneath the Brown. Basketball to Conovan. Here's Goodings.
Oh, that's exactly right. He told them, you go to your set off and I want to see it every time down the floor. It makes for a three-basket. Just like that.
Sophomore Conovan just about let a three-pointer fly. That's really not what TC needs right now. There's Klein in the way, and that's what they need. He can't get it to Conovan. Just going forward his eyes. That's a big shot. That got him down.
You got to give him credit, Matt. Woody Klein is the one who should have the ball in that situation, and he got the shot. He got a good one.
Second buzzer beater, well out foul, and that'll do it. As number 31, Tony Wilson, put up the shot on the Joe Nickel off the bench, giving the officials a new referee word.
I knew there was a foul there in the last second just before the buzzer.
Well, we talked about the first quarter advantage that Washington has had. It didn't take the game. 15-13. But Washington comes out with a 19-11. Number one team in the state in Class 2A is leading Pella Christian 32 to 26, and at one point Pella Christian led 26-24, so that's an 8-0 run to end that first half. And again, we talked about it, I believe, in our girls game that we kicked off the season with. Last 2 minutes of the first half, first 2 minutes of the second half, and really swing a ball game either way.
Well, that's exactly right. He called a timeout, and I don't know exactly what the time was in the clock, and he called a timeout, but after that, they got those 3 buckets as a result of running the court offense. And boy, they ran it well. They had a couple beautiful assists in there to Brown. You got to give Pella Christian credit to the last shot of the half. They worked their offense, and Klein got the shot. And from last year's experience and so forth, he's the one that should have a shot. He got a good shot, it's just that he didn't put it down that particular instant.
Halftime, Washington 52, Pella Christian 26. We're about to take a look at first half statistics in just a moment. Pella Super Value is the home of fresh produce, quality meats, affordable prices, and speedy checkout lanes. The Pella Super Value, stop in today. It's on Broadway. Tonight's game is brought to you KRLS. We want to take this opportunity to let you know about our basketball coverage coming up this weekend. We'll focus on the Pella Little Dutch this weekend, and we'll have Friday night boys basketball action as Pella takes on Knoxville in a big FCC conference opener. Knoxville coming in as the Loop favorite in the FCC, while Pella, of course, reloading as they get some of their young players some experience. And they certainly have the makings of a fine team, certainly as this season progresses. We'll see the Little Dutch Friday night, and then we'll turn right around and we'll see them again Saturday night as they leave the conference to take on Newton in a non-conference ball game up at Newton. And we will have that contest for you Saturday night. So it's Pella boys basketball coming up this weekend. And, of course, we'll bring you the best in Pella and Pella Christian coverage all season long as the 2 fine high schools in Pella do battle on the basketball court. They faced off in the big Friday night Gord, so the rest of the way out, they can cheer for each other now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And with our independent schedule, a lot of times we have a Friday night free, so there are many times when our kids are going over to watch Pella High play. And that's good to see in a community that the kids are pulling for one another. A lot of times we see each other on weekends, and there's a lot of good exchanges between the 2 schools.
Well, an interesting stat right off the bat is the fact that Pella Christian has outshot Washington numbers-wise. Pella Christian with 31 shots at the basket in the first half, just 20 for Washington. But some of the differences you can look at right away, of course, would be the percentage. And we are in the process of putting that together right now. We've got Washington at 65%, and they've also hit 3 of 5 three-pointers. So they haven't needed many shots. That percentage, 65.
And those 5 three-pointers that were taken, I don't think I've ever seen finer form on the three-pointers either. A lot of times you see that in the big school class in Iowa and on the college level because the kids are so confident. They put up as many three-pointers as what they put up two-pointers. But you get the smaller schools in Iowa, and you're fortunate if you can have one kid who can hit that three-pointer consistently. That's not the case with Washington. They look good on the form. There was once, too, where the kid faked the three-pointer and then took the ball all the way to the basket. So they truly run the floor. And I was surprised by the changes that they made. They came out and they full-court man pressed, and every time that they had the opportunity to run, they did. And that surprised me a little bit because Washington's known for a controlled tempo type of offense. But you can certainly see how they have worked in their offense and that they got experience because they knew right where the other ball player was. They had some fine assists in there, particularly after that timeout in the second quarter when they went to their half-court offense. Dave Tremmel definitely wanted to go down to the locker room with the lead. And he made sure that he probably went to his offense that he thinks score best against the size that Pella Christian has to offer.
In the first half, top scorer for Pella Christian was Brad Wienia coming off the bench with 7 points. 6 points for Eric Pothoven, 5 for Ryan Klein. Van Gorp with 4, Gietings with 2, Vandermolen with 2. So we talked about the fact that we thought Gietings would be able to cut loose a little bit in this ball game. Had the fine game, of course, against Pella, and we thought with his size advantage, he might be able to cut loose. But Pella Christian has done a good job, or I should say Washington has done a good job not only helping out on Gietings and making sure that he wasn't matched up on Dunlap or one-on-one so much, but also they played that zone. And, of course, with the zone, you've always got people helping out.
And if you don't end up with an experienced ball player, a lot of times that inexperienced ball player early in the year is going to allow the first 2 or 3 or 4 minutes of a game to dictate how he's going to play the rest of the half. And that's what happened to Brent Meadings. He caught the underside of the board or the side of the board of these square rectangular college boards here at the college. He caught that on the first shot, missed the second one, and then it just seems like you're pressing a little bit because you're not off to a good start. And I think an experienced ball player like a Van Gorp, a Klein, Steve Brown from Washington, that doesn't happen to those guys. And that's not a discredit. It's just a matter of some kids have had the opportunity to have experience in their sophomore or junior years playing varsity basketball.
Wenya came off the bench to lead Pella Christian in rebounding as well. He had 6 in the first half, 5 from Mark Van Gorp to lead the way. Overall, Pella Christian 12 of 31 shooting the ball for 39%. That included 0 of 2 for three-point range. And free throws, Pella Christian just 2 of 5 from the line, Gord, 40%. You're not going to get many chances at the line against Washington. And to turn around and just hit 40% and not taking advantage at all of the opportunity they give you.
If I don't miss my guess, Trimmel will probably talk to those kids about those 4 early fouls and probably how they could not play as good a defense because of the fact that they did not want to put Pella Christian at the free throw line during the course from the middle of the first quarter throughout the rest of the second quarter. And I'm sure you will not see Washington in this third quarter pick up any early fouls. It would not surprise me until Pella Christian isn't shooting foul shots until late in the third quarter or early in the fourth, if I miss my guess. I don't think Trimmel would let that go by. Although they were playing aggressively, they were playing a full-court man. Interesting defense that they played, too, because they do trap. They run a trap-type defense out of a man-to-man. Most of the times you run a trap, you're going to play a zone defense, but that's not the case out here tonight. They run kind of a rotation. They get the kid stopped, and then they pull over and they double team, so one guy is free, but it's difficult to pick up where that free man is.
For Washington, one of the things that really jumps out is the fact we talked coming in, there were 3 guys that did all the scoring for him. But you look at halftime, Danny Stout has 6 points and Brian Dunlap has 4. Those 2 were combining for 8 points a game coming in, and they have 10 already at halftime. So that is definitely a key factor because as you look up and down, Brown has 9. He's below his average. Wilson has 8. He's a bit above his average. Fulton has 5, and he's below his average at this point. So the 4 and 5 guys in the scoring for Washington who weren't supposed to do much have, in fact, done much.
Well, if you say Dave Trimmel plays 5 or 6 ball players, I'm sure he has confidence in those 4th and 5th ball players. And there's no way they're not going to score in certain situations. They may have ball game or maybe they have a single free throw, and then that pulls their average down. So sometimes those 4.5 or 3.5 type averages are really, really deceiving. Just like Brown's 28 is. I think he scores when he needs to score. And we saw that a couple of times down here when they had to go and the ball game was tied. They were down by 2. He gets the ball.
Well, we're approaching the start of the second half, and we're going to keep it right here at Kuiper Gymnasium on the campus of Central College. And pretty good crowd again tonight. They decided to move this ball game out here, Gord, to accommodate the crowd. Didn't think that the gym over at Pella Christian High School on Jefferson Street would handle the crowd. And looking around in this gym, there are some plenty of empty bleachers, but I think if you put all these people into that Pella Christian gym, you'd have people standing in the lunchroom wondering what was going on.
And we've had games over there where it's been uncomfortably crowded. I think like a game like Homecoming and some of the other big games, I think people actually do stay home and listen on the radio just simply because of the fact that they don't want to battle the big crowd. At least you go get something to drink at halftime, you come back, and you feel it's almost an imposition because of the fact that somebody's taking your seat and you've got to move them. And so I'm sure that sometimes there are some people who say, hey, we don't want to battle a crowd. Out here, there's all kinds of room, and it's nice and comfortable. So it's enjoyable to be over here once playing a game other than the annual affair between Pella and Pella Christian.
Well, the facility's here. It's a darn nice one, so you might as well take advantage of it. And, of course, the fine folks at Central College make it all possible. They're certainly instrumental in the use of this arena for high school basketball.
Well, they've got their personnel here again, and that helps so much. They are very, very gracious hosts.
We'll start the second half. Pella Christian will have the basketball. Ryan Klein is in there. Also, Brent Meadings on the front line. Connor and Van der Molen in the backcourt, and Van Gorp is center in the middle. Stout and Bolton the guards for Washington. Deeding's baseline jumper, no good. Rebound comes out of there to Stout. So right away, Pella Christian comes out shooting, and they miss. Here's Tony Wilson. He's one of the forwards. Double forward Dunlap. Brown is the center. Guard Bolton and Stout. Here's Stout off to Bolton. And a long three-pointer. Wilson, no good. And we're going to have a pushing off underneath on Dunlap. He got the rebound, but he had to push to get it. And so the ball will belong to Pella Christian. That'll be a turnover on the... That's not a turnover on the rebounding foul. Second on Wilson. First team foul on Washington. So right away they come out and get a cheap foul. Not one I'm sure the Dave Trimmer would like to see him pick up. Full court pressure again by Washington. Eric Pothoven splits the defenders off to Vandermolen. The ball is in front court for Pella Christian. Vandermolen off to Klein. Little shot, no good. Van Dorp with a powerful rebound. Awfully close to going over the back, but he was able to avoid contact enough to get the ball, and he put it back in. There's a drop off into Brown. Van Dorp to took it away. Ball will belong to Washington, but Van Dorp got time to mine that little lob pass.
Side front defense and long arms, and he does have a long reach. That really helps.
Wilson for three. Yeah. Tony Wilson, 3 for 3. 9 points on just the three-pointers. He's got 11 tonight. First player to reach double figures. 35-28, biggest lead for Washington. Pella Christian gets the ball across half court. Almost a walk on Vandermolen. Here's Klein underneath. He gets the basket. Nice interior feed from Giddings, and a nice move by Klein to cut in the seam right down the lane. 35-30 the score. Wilson thinks about the three-pointer, dishes off. They lob it into Brown. He almost lost it, got control, put it up, and he misses the basket, but he's fouled on Giddings, and not much of a foul at all, but it'll be the third on Brent Giddings, and the first team foul of the half on Pella Christian.
I think Brown is often side-fronted, but Mark Andrews really has an advantage because of his long reach. And perhaps the people on the outside from Washington will make an adjustment to that. But at this point, beginning of the second half, York is skipping about every pass that goes into Brown.
Keep in mind the fatigue factor. The coach is saying it won't matter. We will find out. As this Washington team played a game on Friday night, and they played 2 games on Saturday. And don't forget, that tournament was in Central Illinois. It was about, I believe, a 6 or 7 hour trip. And now the public address announcement. Some folks found some debris on the floor. And hopefully we'll get that stopped before it really gets started. Brown, first free throw is good.
Good athlete, you're left-handed. I think you got an advantage. It's 2 in baseball, it's 2 in basketball, too. The world is so oriented toward the right-handed people.
He was a good athlete. Come up a little bit short. That's what kept me from greatness. Eagles basketball. It's a 7-point lead for Washington. Van Dorp is really like to see Van Dorp way inside and get that ball up and shoot it above his head.
There's a nice form on the jumper. There again, ball is tipped. I thought the bright spot in the second quarter was the play of Brad Union. Right now it's Mark Indorf on both ends.
Full court pressure again by Washington. Pothoven needs to get it across the line to Vandermolen. They get it to Ryan Klein. Numbers advantage. Van Dorp, baseline jumper. He's got 10 points in the third quarter. He's got all 3 shots he's taken since halftime. It's back to a 3-point ball game. 37-34. Wilson, nice move on Klein, goes all the way in, lays it home. After that 3-point penalty, he'll take it and take it to the baseline. Second time we've seen him take a 3-pointer and drive all the way to the hole.
Equally adept at going down the middle and all the way to the baseline.
Weenie with the basketball for PC. And underneath, a foul called on Stout. Second foul of the half on Washington away from the ball. They call Stout for the push. Weenie checked into the lineup for Giddings. Giddings with 3 fouls. We've got 5 minutes, 10 seconds to go, third quarter. It's Washington 39, Pella Christian 34. Vandermolen for three. Vandermolen with the third three-pointer, 39-37, back to within two. Bolton off to Wilson. Leaned right on top of him. Does not let him get around him. The tough defense. Washington has the ball almost threw it away. They did throw it out of bounds. It was just barely kicked by Wiener. And so the ball remains in the hands of Washington. Bolton set to put it in. Needs to get it in. Lobs it way out front to Wilson. Here's Bolton. Van Gorp and Dunlap battling underneath. 2-1-2 wrong by Pella Christian. Washington trying to attack it. Here's Wilson with the ball outside the three-point arc to the left side, back out between the circles to Bolton. Bolton gets it off down the corner. Wilson takes the three-pointer. Wiener out there on top of him. Good active zone. The goal shot. Washington comes out of there with it. Bolton has it. Off to Brown. Very active defense for Pella Christian on this defensive stand, and it's a big one. Now here's a drive by Bolton. Baseline to Brown. He puts his shot up. No good. Fights for the rebound. Pella Christian. Paul is going to need to lay there for just a moment to get himself corrected. But he was just so off balance to begin with. Just a little contact really sent him spinning.
Right in the right position. Just a little bit of an undercut. I don't think it was intentional. The officials don't think so either because it's not a two.
And Wilson came over and...
Oh, he is calling it a two shot.
They're calling it two. Wilson came over and put his hand around Vandermolen. You know, wanted to explain that didn't mean for it to be that rough. And Vandermolen hits the first free throw. Vandermolen with 6 points tonight, and if he can hit this one, he'll be all tied up. Exactly 4 minutes to go, third quarter. Second one on the way. Good! 39-39. And here's the ball kicked out of bounds. It'll be off the foot of Ryan Klein. Had the nice shot that time, snuck in behind number 25, Stout. Stout turned, had nowhere to go, and he dribbled the ball, and he just happened to dribble off Ryan's foot.
He was fortunate that there wasn't a turnover there.
39-39. Washington has the basketball. Number one team in the state. Wilson taking shoulder touch. Vandermolen with the steal. It's off to Conhagen. Eric hasn't scored for a while. It's interesting to see if he starts to look for it. Just a sophomore. The seniors are really taking charge. Man-to-man defense. And Jerry Mickle off the bench to call that one. Right in front of him. Right in front of him. Substitution, Matt Mouser will check in.
And Dunlap picked up his fourth foul.
That's 4 on Dunlap, and the 4th team foul in Washington. So again, we're seeing what we saw before, Gord. We didn't think it would happen again. Sure enough, it has.
Exactly right.
Conhoven steps up, 17-footer is off. Long rebound. Wilson comes out of there with it. Conhoven hit his first three, and he since missed his last 4. Washington with the basketball. Burton has it, lost his dribble. Conhoven all over him. Gets away with the ball off the Stout, and now back to Bolton. Off the Stout right side. Mouser.
There's really some bumping going on, too, off the ball.
Brown has it. Put that one right back in his face, and then Mark came up with a loose ball. Klein, 15-footer, no good. Rebound, top 4. Wilson has it. 39-39, 2:35 to go, third quarter. Mouser has the basketball. Underneath, nice feed. Wilson goes up, shot no good. Rebound taken out by William. He's fouled. It's his third and the 15th foul on Washington.
2 minutes and 25 seconds left in the third quarter. Pella Christian will be at the line the rest of the ball game.
And that is a distinct advantage because TC has only committed one foul this half. It'll be a long, long time before Washington gets into the bonus. 39-39, Brad Wienia at the line. He has a chance to put the Eagles on top for the first time in quite a while. On the way, good.
He's really found himself after those early minutes in tonight's ballgame.
Pella Christian now 3 for 3 from the line in the second half, so after a bad first half at the line, they picked it up. They're at 63% for the game. Still a little bit under where you'd like to be, but they're certainly heading in the right direction. Second one is going to be short, way short. Wilson gets the rebound. They're on the odd number now, 40-39. Still 19 to go third quarter. Washington has the ball. Bolton kicks it off to Mouser. Washington uses quite a bit in that substitution. You know they do. Here's Pothoven missing. He has got himself some third quarter. He took advantage of the substitution. He went right around Friday and put it in. 42-39. Here's Brown taking it around Van Dorf. He gets the bucket inside. He's a franchise, isn't he? They need a hook every time they go to him. You know they're going to do it, and he comes through.
When I see a ball player like that, I think of Holzhauser and what he did for the Dodgers in the one World Series. You're right. They're going to go to him, and the rest of the ball game, he's going to have the ball in scoring position.
13 points in the ball game for Brown, so unless he really catches fire, he's going to be well below his average, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is that Mr. Money. Lefty puts it in. 14 points for him. He's 6 or 7 at the line, too.
Washington State with their full court press, despite the fact that Pella Christian's in the 1-1 situation.
42-42. 1 minute, 40 seconds to go, third quarter. That Pothoven 0 for 3, didn't take it. Here's Klein, kicks it off to Pothoven. Vandermolen, baseline, here's Geeting. Fall away, no good. Van Dorf! Washington wants a timeout. 1 minute, 21 seconds to go. Broadcasters Club, including Country Kitchen. Country Kitchen is proud to be a supporter of local high school activities. We salute the athletes and students who make our local schools so special. Stop in after tonight's game at the Country Kitchen in Pella. The Pella Diet Center wants you to know about their plan for you to lose up to 16 pounds before Christmas. Find out more at the Pella Diet Center. Ideal Pharmacy is your one-stop shopping place for family health care, families and total processing, health and beauty needs. The friendly drugstore on the southeast corner of the Pella Square. Tonight's game is also brought to you by the Light and Rocker, wholesalers Rocker and Dixon. The Light and Rocker, it's in the middle of things. The Light and Rocker in downtown Lighton Alley. Sponsored by Home Furnishings, sure to fit in your home with found at Slapdown Furniture. See the wide selection of home furnishings and carpet at Slapdown Furniture, west on Washington and Pella. We're back at Kaiser Gymnasium, Central College. Paul Clark along with Gordon Van Zanten on the new 92 KRLS Washington basketball after their timeout. Inbound pass is kicked away by Vandermolen, a diving deflection. Ball goes out of bounds, so Washington will put it in from the sideline again. Pella Christian 44, Washington 42. Washington led by 6 at halftime, but the Eagles have stormed back. They have a 2-point lead right now. Washington has the basketball after the timeout. Last time they called a big timeout as we came to the end of the second quarter. After that timeout, they proceeded to score the last 6 points of the first half to take a 6-point advantage. Let's see if the timeout has the same effect for Washington this time. Here's Brown going baseline over Van Gorp, gets the basket. Quick release that time. Took it right on Mark and got rid of it before Mark could get up there.
Made a good adjustment on the way he was being played defensively.
Vandermolen off to Pothoven. We're tied at 44. We're down to 47 seconds, third quarter. Pothoven drives in. Sophomore. He's missed 4 in a row, but obviously the confidence not wavering for that young man as he took that one in amongst the big boys and put it high off the glass. Very impressive move.
Pella Pistons dropped their press, and they're in the, I was going to say straight zone. Yes, they are in their zone defense.
PC drops back into the zone. Bolton holds the ball out around the center circle to look things over.
28 seconds left in the third quarter.
I'll tell you what, Friday down there is no Troy Wilson by any means. Just non-existent. That is a real disadvantage for Washington.
He isn't going to get the ball off the glass. I think they'll keep the ball outside.
3-pointers. Scramble for the ball. It goes out of bounds. It belongs to Washington. Scott tried the three-pointer. Klein came out there and blocked it. 3 or 4 guys went up in the air for it. Contact lenses, therapeutically certified. Glaucoma diagnosis and treatment. Doctors Vanderleest and DeHaan on Pella. Fourth quarter action underway. Washington with the basketball. It's Pella Christian 46, Washington 44. Demon Savage, Bolton on the outside. Swings it around. Here's Wilson. He'll drive on Wiener. Spin around. Jump shot is no good. Forced that one. Here's Weenie inside, dumps it to Van Gorp. Mark Van Gorp, on 6 shooting from the field. The end of the third quarter, Pella Christian is 45%, 59% for Washington. Layup by Wilson, no good. Rebound taken away by Weenie. With the shot, Van Gorp with the shot defensively. Pella Christian has it and a 4-point lead. Here's Weenie. Inside the Van Gorp, a little too tall. Nice defensive help by Wilson, knocks it away. He wanted to unload a long pass down floor. Just loved the pivot set. And then changed his mind as his offensive receivers turned their back on him.
Pretty abrasive, because that wasn't forced by any defensive pressure. That was just simply a Washington mistake.
Ryan Klein for 3. No! And the rebound taken away by Dunlap. Washington has the ball. Pella Christian has the lead. 48-44. Wilson with it. He'll take it onside. He lost it for a minute. Regains control. Baseline jumper. No good. And the rebound is taken by Washington. And Pothoven calls for a foul back. There's a big turn of events. Vandermolen was one-on-one, just lost control of the ball for a split second, took a shot, couldn't get it. Pothoven with the rebound, or I should say, Pothoven with the rebounding foul. His first, no problem that way. Third team foul on Pella Christian, but gives the ball back to Washington when PC had a golden opportunity to go up by 6.
And now we'll see the Pella Christian press again.
Washington working the ball. They've got their starter back in there. Wilson has come back into the lineup. Wilson, Brown, and Dunlap up front. Stout and Bolton in the backcourt. Wilson kicks out. Man-to-man defense. Drive inside. Feed in the garbage. Dunlap. Pothoven out of there with it. 3-on-2 break. Pothoven goes in. Stops. Pops. Head and shoulders fake. Gets the shot up. No good. Van Gorp with a massive. Offensive board. Those all those points off the board. He was absolutely all in the lane in the second half. 50-44. Biggest lead for Pella Christian. 3-pointer by Wilson. Yes! 4-4. That'll get you the ball in a hurry. Pella Christian with the ball again. Full court. Zone defense for Washington. Klein goes baseline to Weenie. Back out to Ryan Klein. Pothoven will drive in. Gets his man up in the air. Forces a shot. No good. Rebound taken away by Stout. comes Washington. They control back in the other side. The defender for Pella Christian. Now PC wants to call a timeout. Eagles want to count it over. 5:07 to go. It's Pella Christian 50 and Washington 47. Johnson Decoration. When it's time for redecorating your home, call the professionals at Johnson Decoration. See Johnson Decoration at 614 Franklin in Pella. Visit the People's State Bank in Albia. Ask about free checking. No service charge on your first 50 checks. It's absolutely free at People's State Bank in Albia. Tonight's game is brought to you by the KRLS Sportscasters Club, including the Village Florist. At the Village Florist, floral arrangements are our specialty. Balloons, silk and dry towels, green and blooming plants. Worldwide delivery from the Village Florist, south side of the square in Pella. The Family Hair Care Center for your family is off Broadway in Pella. Professionals who know the look that's best for you and the care that's best for your hair. Off Broadway, west of the Pella Florist in Washington. Great selection and low prices await you at Flowers Hardware. That's Flowers Hardware and Home Center. Save on the items you need around the house and the ranch. Flowers Hardware on the east side of the square in Pella. Tonight's game also brought to you by Wolfstein. Wolfstein is proud to be a part of the community in Pella. Wolfstein is a loyal supporter of area high school athletic programs. We salute the athletes and students of our favorite high schools. Back at Piper Gymnasium, Pella Christian has the basketball and a 3-point lead, 50-47. Weenia with it off to Pothoven as they swing it around the top to Troy Vandermolen. Back out between the circles to Pothoven. Inside they go to Klein, and he is fouled by Dunlap. So the foul called on Dunlap, and that'll send Ryan Klein to the free throw line. He is 1 for 1 on free throws, and that's all for Brian Dunlap. So they'll have to check out of there. Washington will go to their number 6 man, which is Marcus. He's only 5'9", and he plays a frontline position. Very husky build, so he obviously is a position forward. Uses his huskiness to get position where he doesn't have to out-jump anybody. And I'm sure that Dave Semmel knows he has to play that particular spot, so we'll do a creditable job in there, I'm sure of that. Ryan Klein, a big 1-and-1 for Pella Christian. The senior delivers. Good. Ryan's only 3 for 12 from the field, but he's hit 2 free throws, 2 for 2, so he's got 8 points. Still hasn't really found the shooting touch early in the season, but if he can hit these big ones from the line down the stretch, and he misses that one. So the 4-point lead, 51-47 with 4:45 to go. Basketball controlled by Mouser. Klein on in. Bounce pass underneath to Brown. Reverse layup to by Weenia. Van Vliet took away the first option, so Brown wrapped it around for the reverse. Weenia collapsed on him and hacked him across the arm going for the block. At the line, number 35, Steve Brown. Well, he is 6 for 7 tonight. He's the only Washington player who shot free throws tonight. And he hits it. Came in shooting 76% after the weekend tournament, and he took 7 of 8 tonight. Make it 8 of 9. He gets a nice shooting roll, and it's the 2-point ball game, 51-49. Pothoven with the basketball off to Weenia. Brad Weenia dribbles around Pothoven between the circles. Brad Weenia, spin move, dumps off the Klein, little jump. He's in the double figures with 10. It's 53-49. That's exactly what he's done throughout his high school career. Just those little 10-12-foot shots. He'll get it down. Wilson drives in. Can't make anything happen. Kicks it out to Fulton. Front drive back out to Wilson. Weenie on in. They dump it inside to Brown. He'll drive on Klein. Baseline jumper. Draw. Got that over Woody Klein. Brown is going a little further out away from the bucket now. And Klein's picking him up in that zone defense. 53-51. Pella Christian's lead is 2. Vandermolen looks for help. Has to get rid of it to Pothoven. Pothoven out between the circles. Swing it around the top to Weenia. He's extended left side. Skip pass cross court into Van Vliet. And he missed it. Van Vliet check. tackle back on the first tip try, but it doesn't really matter because he took it right back in. Wilson underneath the Mouser, and we're going to have a foul away from the ball. It's going to be on Van Dorp. Mouser with an arm coming through. Mouser came clean okay and got the ball. Apparently it came by Van Dorp. A little delayed whistle that time. Mark must have hooked him with the arm. Well, now Brown's going to go to the line, so it was completely away from the ball.
I didn't see the play.
I tell you, I didn't see it either. It's the third on Van Dorp.
One point. Touch shot. Beautiful, beautiful play. You can see why he's an all-star.
10-11 at the line. 55-53. 3 minutes to go. 3 minutes. Eric Pothoven drives in. He's got a lane. He was tripped, able to dish it off. Great job getting rid of it. Vandermolen into the lane. Rope. Bounce around, finally through. Back and forth we go. These teams matching baskets right now. Wilson takes the drive. Wiener is just all over him. Great defense again by Brad Wiener.
There's Burton. Wilson is still playing aggressively, but he has to be very careful.
Has to get through to the three-point line for Sam Wiener. Law pass. For help, off to Wiener. Wiener with the basketball, baseline to Vandermolen, he'll shoot it, and it's no good. Harrison, a good free throw shooter, Burton to the line, not much of a foul at all. That's number 4 on the big guy.
Well, that was a touch foul.
Well, Vandermolen's shot had it wet, could have been a backbreaker. But again, it wasn't probably the shot they were exactly looking for with a 4-point lead.
And he's over here at the bench talking to coaches on that one.
Burton steps up to the line. He was 80% coming in. First player other than Brown to shoot a free throw for Washington. And he missed it. Long rebound. He got it. He got it. And he lost it out of Burton. He lost it out of bounds. So it's Washington basketball with a minute 46 to go. 57-53. Burton walks the ball into the forecourt. Man defense for Pella Christian. Brown takes it in. And that's how Van Dorp had to play foul. That's exactly right. He's having a foul out of the ball game. He's got 4, so look for Washington to attack him there, too.
I think this offensive thrust of the basket will be an important key because Washington goes back with the ball. They'll get it Brown if they're 2 down.
Pothoven controlling the basketball. The climb back out to Pothoven. Eagles pulled away from the basket. They're going to milk the clock as much as they can. There's a little give and go. Vandermolen thought about the shot. Decided not to. Got away with the travel. Wiener has it. Taken away. Ball is loose. He's going to get it. Washington will take it, though. Ryan Klein goes to the line. Ryan sets and shoots it.
He makes this free throw. That'll give you a 4-point differential.
Second one on the way. Good. Brad Williams lost the contact. It's 4-on-5. They keep play going. Brown goes inside and gets the easy error. So the officials would not give Pella Christian the timeout to look for the contact. And Jaron Nickel on the floor. As Brad Eno was one time out, he lost his contact, and it was 4 on 5. Brad finally took the heck with the contact and came down to trying to help out, but by that time they'd already pounded the ball inside the ground. Well, it's got to be a helpless feeling for Brad. Couldn't see for one thing, and the referee couldn't hear.
I know a few years ago there was really havoc among the officials in the association with regard to kids tying their shoestrings on their shoes, and those were loose. And officials made up their mind they were not going to stop the ball game in order to do that. But I think it's a different situation. When one team is put at a disadvantage because of something like a contact problem, I think you've got to call that and then put the ball in play.
And of course, there's probably more than one coach or player who fake losing the contact. And of course, you pretend like you pick it up, who's going to call the line because nobody else can see it anyway.
Well, that's exactly right. So, you know, it's a difficult situation to handle. Officials are really put on the spot.
At any rate, with 50 seconds to go, 5-0 is all we have on the clock. It's Pella Christian 59 and Washington 57.
It's going to be an interesting 50 seconds because so much can happen in basketball 50 seconds.
About an hour and 15 minutes ago, boy, we were trying to hope we have a great finish after the sophomore game in the varsity game, and we got it. Now the officials still talking about something. Brad Wing explaining to the officials that it's Pella Christian's ball because Washington scored, and they take his word for it, so Brad turned away the situation.
Washington called timeout immediately after they scored.
Ryan Klein able to run the baseline after the made basket. He does and takes advantage of it. Pothoven gets it to Vandermolen across half court, 42 seconds. Vandermolen looks for help off to Pothoven between the circles.
And of course, Washington is now in a man-to-man. They cannot afford to stay in the zone.
Vandermolen has it off to Pothoven. Keefe really doesn't have to shoot. Washington's going to foul pretty soon. They got Pothoven trapped. He gets away. Gets the ball to wins it back to Pothoven. Pothoven is fouled. He wants to go to the line. Two shots. That's an interesting situation. They're going to have to get that one straightened out, too, in official judgment, because I'll tell you, that game is, the game here is determined by an official foul in front. There's the politician's favor in this particular instance. Pothoven at the line all by himself. He hits these two, and politician is the Eagles will get the ball. Second one on the way. Good. And now Politician wants to call a timeout and pass things over. 25 seconds to go. Politician 59. Washington 57. People down to Stan Anthony back. If we continue to lose this banking services. When the need arises for insurance, you can buy a check on a knowledgeable staff at the Key City Agency in Pella. For both personal and commercial coverage, visit the Key City Agency. Welcome back to Piper Gymnasium on the campus of Central College in Pella. High school basketball on the new 92 with Paul Clark and Gordon Van Zenton. The Pella Christian Eagles 25 seconds away from knocking off number 1 Washington. Slide pass into Van Gorp, looks for help, gets it off to Pothoven. Pothoven with the basketball, and he is fouled by Gordon. Allison Harris right back to the line, and he's just hit a couple.
You can bet they won't call a lot of team shots.
No, indeed. from the Pella Christian side of things, you like to see Eric going right back to the line where he's got the confidence from just hitting those two about a minute ago.
Eric Potto's a prime free throw shooter. A couple of years ago, he won the free throw shooting contest at the Hawkeye basketball camp in Iowa City.
This sophomore wants to do that. He wants to be in the pressure situation. Free throw is good. Eric 3 for 4 tonight. A 5-point lead now for Pella Christian with 19 seconds to go. Second one by Eric is good. Here comes Washington. They'll lead the three-pointers. Wilson stops and fires. No. He's got Pothoven with the basketball now. Pothoven dribbles around, and he's hammered. Situation there. Eric Pothoven wasn't up at the line when he was supposed to be, and they just laid the ball on the free throw line. He had to come get it, and Eric ran up there and scooped the ball and shot it in one motion. These officials have really never had control tonight. There haven't been too many controversial fouls, but what this discussion is all about. Now Washington wants a timeout. Now go for it. 6 seconds left. 63-57 Pella Christian. The Pella Christian you come to first stage. Saturday night, the field of defenses on speed. The Pella Super Value. Shopping today, it's on Broadway. Tonight's game also brought to you by Dexter Decorating. Whether you're redoing it. Pella on Main Street. Clark along with Gord Van Zanten back down at Piper Gymnasium, Central College campus, where Pella Christian 6 seconds away from knocking off number 1 Washington. Eric Pothoven at the line for one. He'll get a shot in, and Pella Christian will get the ball back. 64-57. Oh, boy, what a shot to run it down. What a way to finish. I tell
tell you what. I'll tell you, the key to the ball game there really the last minute was the intentional foul on Brown out here at half court. And referee's judgment, of course. Second half, Pella Christian outscoring Washington 41 to 25. So a 16-point advantage in that second half for Pella Christian. The Eagles have done it. They've knocked off number 1. Washington falls at Central College. Final, Pella Christian 67, Washington 57.
For pizza, sandwiches, a salad bar, lunch and smorgasbord, ice cream and sundaes, it's Happy Joe's. Stop in after the game at Happy Joe's Pizza and Ice Cream Parlor, Highway 163 East in Pella. Tonight's game is brought to you by the KRLS Sportscasters Club, including Walmart. Always the low price on the brands you trust. Visit America's favorite retail store, Walmart, east on 163 in Pella. Fast, friendly service, a full range of banking services.
Interesting, as we look at our preliminary stats, we're right in the middle of figuring it out. Washington shot 58% tonight, but they only had 36 field goal attempts, and that is really something. They just took good shots. They didn't have any second chance opportunities, maybe one or two. I can't think of any right off.
No, that's right. And the key was in the front line because, as you said, the shots that they missed were rebounded defensively by the Pella Christian front line. They got very, very few second shots. But he shot well enough from the outside. When they got the ball to Brown, many, many times he scored. But there were so many tipped balls where they tried to get the ball into Brown at the block near the bucket. But then Gorf would tip the ball away. And then, of course, the ball was loose, usually a turnover, or else the ball was taken out of bounds, and then they have to reset their offense. So in high school basketball, you've got to have 60 shots, 60 or 70 shots to win if you're going to shoot around 45 to 50%. Winning basketball teams in the high school level generally somewhere between 45 and 50%. Percentage is high enough in this particular instance, but they don't have, like you say, they don't have near enough shots.
Big basketball game for Pella Christian, winning at 67-57 over the Washington Demons, number 1 team in the state coming in, but that's bound to change. A couple of pretty good teams up there between Washington and Pella Christian. Maurice Orange City. Who is up there? Western Christian is up there, I believe.
Yeah, they're in the number 2
there's
spot.
also another team in there, and I'll be darned if I can't think of it, but at any rate, Pella Christian at number 4 coming in. We might see them leapfrog depending on what else happens, but if Western Christian continues to have a good week and they win all their ball games, could very well see them move into number 1 and have PC right behind them.
Right, and generally in the top 5 spots, it's not going to make a lot of difference. It's nice to be ranked number 1 in certain instances because you get the recognition. In other situations, you got to play with that pressure all year long. So it will be interesting to see what the people who are supposedly the high school sports experts will do with the polls. I think the longer you're in coaching, the longer you place less reliability on those as time goes along.
We talked at halftime about the scoring of Brian Dunlap and Danny Stout. They were the guys coming in tonight for Washington that weren't supposed to score. They had 10 points between them at halftime. They had 10 points between them when this ball game ended. So really in that second half, it was all Brown. Brown had 17 points in the second half, really took charge. The whole team only had 25, so you can see right there he scored 17 of their 25 points. The rest of the team pretty much non-existent. Wilson spent too much time out of the game because of his foul problems.
No, that's exactly right, and that, as Coach Nickel indicated in the pregame show, that doesn't happen to Washington very often. They simply do not play with reserves, and you noted it at one time down here on the offensive end where one of the ball players is being totally ignored, and that's exactly what happens. They expect to play with the 5 or the 6 that they have designated, and that's what they're going to do. And Wilson, of course, is in foul trouble. Dunlap fouled out, and, of course, you play with extra people, and they ordinarily don't fit in the offense. Things aren't going to go nearly as well for you.
Hope to get a chance to visit with Coach Jerry Nickel in just a bit. Haven't seen him come out of the locker room to this point. I'm sure he and the Eagles at Central College, and it's time to talk with Jerry Nickel. Jerry, I'm not sure what the final score was. That last basket by Veenstra sure looked like a three-pointer from up here, so if that's the case, 67-57 is how it ended up. They kept 66 up on the scoreboard here, but it was a three-pointer, and boy, a 10-point victory when all is said and done. I think everybody here knows it wasn't a 10-point ball game, but folks all around the state are going to pick up the paper and say, oh, wow, Pella Christian blew them away. But what a ball game.
It was quite a ball game, Paul. It was definitely not a 10-point victory, as you said.
it was more like a one-point victory. It was a great ball game. It was. It had its ups and downs both ways. It had some good shooting in it. It had some good defensive play and some great play by individual people. I thought there were some kids that really put out for them, Wilson and Brown, and you can see that when the chips were down late, you saw who handled the ball for them all the time. Two guys. It was a two-man offense at that point in the game, and our kids, they didn't give up. I was a little upset with them at halftime. I didn't think we were putting out quite the way we should, and I thought we had quite a letdown the last 2 minutes of the first half to give them that 6-point lead, and boy, we had to fight hard to get back in. And then once we got the possession of the ball in the fourth quarter with that 4-point lead, we knew what we wanted to do. But we had a little trouble 2 or 3 times before we finally got that possession, because they'd go up before and they'd come back and they'd answer us. And that happened a couple times. And finally we got the ball with the 4-point lead and got some things that we wanted to do. So for us, it was a tremendous victory. For Washington, it's no big loss either, because it was just a great ball game by, I hope, 2 of the better teams around.
In that second half, we saw Mark Van Gorp really take control on offense, absolutely own the boards, and own the scoring as well in the second half. We had him for 16 points in the second half, 20 points in the ball game after not really scoring much at all in that first half, just 4 points. Absolutely took charge. He owned the lane in that second half.
Tremendous. I said to the kids in the shower room after the game, I said, you guys that were on the bench with us coaches, you saw where Mark played the whole second half. He played the second half above the rim, and I mean to tell you, I don't know how he got through there on a couple of those plays, but he showed us tonight that he had a mediocre game last Friday night, because he really played hard. And, you know, that's the way the good ball players always play, Paul. You know, when the chips are down, they really get with it. And I was thankful he could stay out of foul trouble early. He played very smart defense, I felt, and he had several steals also when he fronted Brown and dared him to lob inside. There were several times he got it. He had a big block in the third or fourth quarter there and came away with the ball. But on the boards, boy, was he a demon, and he was straight up, straight down. Tremendous.
I think tonight we saw the difference between these two teams. Pella Christian, a 6-man basketball team, very definitely. When Wienia comes in off the bench, Pella Christian does not lose even the slightest amount. On the other hand, when Washington went to the bench, you could see they lost quite a bit. When Wilson had to leave the ball game with 4 fouls, they brought in Private Jr., and he just was not there. And especially the fact that it was Wilson of all players who had to go out.
Yeah, that's true. You know, Wilson got this 4th foul, and you know, that helped us, because with him in the game, boy, he's a definite 3-point threat and 2-point as well. But it changes the whole dimension for them, because now they were down to a 1-man scoring ball club. They now have to go to Brown to get all their scoring. You know, I don't know how many Brown and Wilson had between the two of them, but they probably had the points for the whole squad. And, you know, you've got to be more diversified than that, and they'll definitely get that way as the season wears on. But I felt right now tonight that, you know, early in the season like this, we could really key on those 2 people, and then Bolton's ball handling out front. But, boy, I want to credit Brad Wienia for a tremendous defensive effort against Wilson out there. Woody was having trouble with him, and he got around Woody a couple times for easy ones, and then we took the time out and made the switch of defensive assignments. And I'll tell you what, Brad, he gets the defensive award tonight. He did a tremendous job. The only things Wilson got after Wienia picked him up were I mean, in-the-face type shots. Boy, he really deserved them. But he took his 3-point away from him. He was close enough to him. And Brad is quick on his feet, and yet he wouldn't let him try. So tremendous defensive effort. I told Brad after the game, I said, the defense you played made me look like the best, greatest coach there is when we made that defensive assignment. I think, in my own mind, that was the difference in the ball game.
I think you're absolutely right, because Wilson had 6 points in the second half, had 8 in the first, but he had not a very big 6 points in that second half of basketball. And as you mentioned, it was the defense of Wienia was just all over him. Took away twice in the first half. Wilson used that 3-pointer to set up some other things. He faked the 3-pointer,
yes.
And your defensive player is so worried about it, because it hit 3 from way out there, coming out all over him, and he was able to drive all the way to the hole, and Brad simply didn't let him get away with that. And I think you're right. That was very much a key in the ballgame, because Brown had a fantastic second half, but he was the only one who really had a good half.
Right, well, that just go to him again and again inside, and he's a great ball player. Let's face it, he does through the big guys, whatever he has to do to get the ball in the hole. He does a tremendous job. He's very smooth, as you can see. He just smooth as glass out there. The other thing about Wilson's three-point shots, I tell you what, he must have been 6 feet behind that three-point line several times when he let fly, and he's just a very good shooter.
In our pregame interview, we talked about this Washington team, of course, and one of the things that you mentioned that's characteristically, they're not a team that commits a lot of fouls, and they stepped out of character tonight, didn't they? They started the first half with some quick fouls, second half too, and then Wilson, of course, missed a lot of action with 4 fouls.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Paul. In fact, I told you they were a very patient ball club, and they weren't going to push it down, and the first thing we know is they're pushing the ball down our throats here and picking us up with full-court pressure. So it was a little different style than what we saw Washington at late in the season last year, and in fact all of last year. And I think that's probably due to the fact that the 3 kids that are the big people out there now were juniors a year ago, and now they're seniors, and I think that added year of experience and growth. You know, you can't believe how much that added year of growth gives you in stamina. You can play the whole game if you have to. You know, you don't need those blows like you do when you're a little younger, and I think that has a lot to say about it. And I think Dave definitely thinks he's got a very good defensive team here, and probably thinks he has to steal the ball a few times in the backcourt in order to get the victories, and I think that was part of his game plan as well.
An interesting statistic from the ball game. Unofficially, we have Washington 21 of 36. That's 58%. 36 attempts in a whole basketball game, just not much at all. Now, we could be one or two off either way, but the point is they took less than 40 shots, and that is really something. You don't see that very often at all.
Well, that's very true, Paul. And I got to credit our defense with that. I really feel that outside that last 2 minutes in that first half that we talked about a little earlier, I think outside of those 2 minutes, we had a superb defensive effort out of these kids tonight. And you know, down the stretch here, there weren't that many shots, and they put everyone in that they did get as well. But you know, we switched up on offense there late too. I should mention that we put Woody in on the free throw line because last year when they went to the zone on us, Woody was our 4-man at that point in the season and played the free throw line, and he just killed them. He brought us right back in the game, drained those turnaround jumpers and what have you, and we got 2 easy ones for him when we made that transition. And I really credit the kids for doing that because we haven't worked on that in practice at all. In fact, we've worked very little with Wiener in that offensive set. And if he is, he's underneath the bucket. But we pulled him out, moved Van Gorp down because he was boarding so well, and it paid off for us. So I really credit the kids for getting the ball where it had to go at that time. We made a few mistakes here down the stretch. We talked about it in the shower room after the game, but we learned from those things. But at this point in this season, this was one big ball game.
Another tough contest coming up for you against Sheraton. Now, that's a good ball team that is going to be right in the thick of that South Central Conference. Doesn't get any easier, does it?
It certainly doesn't, Paul. And I tell you what, fans thought they saw a good ball game here tonight. They want to turn out against Saturday night because they're going to see a similar effort. Sheraton goes 6'7", 6'6", and 6'4" in the front line. They got all the size in the world, and every one of those kids were starters 1 year ago, so they've also got the experience to go with it. And they got a couple of new guards in their lineup, but a very good ball club. They just completely destroyed Wayne Ford in last Friday night. So maybe our biggest asset on that one is we're off now till Saturday night. They have to travel up to Grinnell and play at Grinnell on Friday night. So, you know, but it's going to be a very good ball game. You know, I was just telling my wife before the game tonight, we don't have any easy ones before Christmas here. We got 6 mighty tough ball games. We went and watched Waukee play last night in a tournament up at Perry, and they're very deserving of their number 9 ranking. A very good ball club. We were very impressed by them. And then, of course, right after that comes Knoxville. So kids say, hey, one at a time, Sheraton's next, and that's when we go after.
Sheraton coming up tonight. It's Pella Christian knocking off Washington 67-57. Thanks to Jerry Nickel for stopping up. Back to wrap things up in just a moment. Tonight's game is brought to you by the KR College to wrap up the gas. Pella Christian came in ranked number 4 in Class 2A. The Washington team number 1 with Pella Christian away with the victory 67-57. We'll find out, of course. It doesn't matter really who's number 1 in December. Come March, that's when you want to be number 1, but it would be awfully nice at this early juncture of the season. Pella Christian 67, Washington 57. We thank you for joining us tonight for basketball on the new 92 FM KRLS, and of course, we thank